First of all, and this goes for every single sport that I've ever watched, ever, that I've ever played, ever, that I've ever played a video game of, ever, that I've ever done anything about, ever. Refs always make things more frustrating. If there's a call you perceive as bad, it sticks with you. You want to yell, you want to scream, it feels unfair because the person who's supposed to be protecting the fairness of the game is not doing so. You heard in 2 Minutes of Hockey the quote there. Brindamore was frustrated with the disparity in power plays, the lack of the icing call in the final minute. Like there's a lot of things to be mad about. It makes it more frustrating, but I think the most frustrating part is that's not the reason why you lost. It's easy. It's convenient. You can point to that and say, hey, would have won if it wasn't for the refs. And maybe that's true. But the fact of the matter is you had your own opportunities to win the game, to not leave it in the refs' hands. And that's what you have to focus on as an athlete or a coach.
I always say, Tim, I'm a big believer of never leave the game up to the officials when it comes to a final call. I know that they can make the argument that, what was it, a late icing call that didn't get called. Again, never leave it up to the officials to either miss it or make that call. But also, talking about opportunities, the Carolina Hurricanes couldn't create their own. They gave the Rangers way too many opportunities in the game last night. The first 2 minutes of the game, they were in the box.
And, well, they're in the box. It's the refs. But I'm going to go back to the second goal, right? Because the Canes did get down, and they tied it up. Beautiful setup. Jarvis finishes. Lovely. The second goal, Tony DeAngelo got out of position. Tony DeAngelo, there was going around the ref, whatever you want to call it. He got out of position, and it led directly to a goal. It's becoming too common. Like out of position is what the Canes don't do on defense, right? Rod Brindamore, that system, it's what they don't do. They play sound defense. DeAngelo got out of position and led directly to a goal. DeAngelo is skating with Shea, so Chatfield and Orlov can skate together while Pesci's out. I'm starting to look at it, and I think the future of this team is, at least what I believe this team should be in the future, is becoming more and more obvious. DeAngelo picked up an assist. I get it. Used to play for the Rangers, got booed when he picked up the assist. There was a little bit of vengeance there. I feel it all. I don't see his contributions to goal scoring, his contributions to the attack, making up for, ready for this, the negative chaos. Huh? The Canes' whole hashtag is hashtag cause chaos this year.
Okay.
I think you can have positive and negative chaos, and DeAngelo has contributed too much negative chaos on the defensive side of the ice. At this point, you have to adjust for the way the season has been going. Similarly to, I think if you asked at the beginning of the year who the second line was going to be, Natchez probably would have been there, and Teravainen probably would have been on the fourth line. But had a couple injuries, right? Svetch took a while to get back. Aho went out. Teravainen was playing lights out. You read the room, right? You looked around and said, I can't take Teravainen off the top two lines right now. He's scoring 0.8 goals every game. Of course we're going to leave him up there. Natchez had to drop down to the fourth. That's not how you envisioned it during the offseason. That's not how you planned this roster when you put it together, but it's how you're going to execute it based on how the season has gone this far. When Pesci comes back, right, and it's, 1 to 3 weeks now? When Pesci comes back, I think DeAngelo has to be the seventh guy and the odd man out. I think DeAngelo has to be the seventh guy and the odd man out. You can take Pesci, put him right back with Shea, keep Chatfield and Orlov skating on the third pair. Because, I'm going to get real coach speaky for you a second.
I'm ready for it.
Defense has to be the priority of the defenseman. And right now, DeAngelo is too much of a liability on the defensive side of the ice, even acknowledging he does bring some things to the power play. He does bring some things as an attack element. He does. But in a game like that, where things were going against you, refs, okay, you're already at a disadvantage on power plays, all these things are happening. There's a weird fluky injury thing with Aho and Fox. With all this going on, you need your defense to be sound as heck because that's what your entire system is built around. Your entire system is built around your defense being sound as heck.
And we saw that in the second period.
Yes.
I thought the second period was a great opportunity for Carolina to take advantage and potentially get a lead in the game. However, the Rangers were just a little more physical last night, a little more dominant.
And a little bit fortunate that D'Angelo picked the wrong way to go around the ref, and it led directly to a goal.
But I'm glad you mentioned that defense has to come back to being the core of the defenseman. I feel like as fans, we've gotten so spoiled to seeing guys like Slavin, Brett Pesce score.
Exactly. And sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm fine with the defensemen scoring goals.
Oh, yeah, you
Don't
are.
get me wrong.
You
like
are.
They led the league in goals from the blue line last year. Like that's awesome. I'm not complaining about it. I'm only saying if that's what you're bringing to the table and it's either at the expense of goal prevention or it is even like a conscious decision that you're playing someone who is not as great on the defensive side of the ice, not as great at goal prevention and advanced at attacking and picking up those goals, I can't get down with that. Some teams, yes. Right? There are teams out there that just want to get up and down the ice, rush offense. They want to score. They want to score. They want to score. You might be able to get away with that. Not this team. This is a team that hangs your hat on defense. Your defense has to be a priority of your defenseman.
And I totally agree with that because coming into last night, Carolina's 37 goals allowed is tied as the most given up league-wide.
And I mean, that's a foreign language to this.
Yeah.
Rod Brindamore has to be like tossing and turning in his sleep, waking up like, did we give up another one? Like
he's going to need a translator, like you always talk about.
Give me my pads and stick. I can fix this. But I just think it has to be that way. And I know there's nothing you can do now because Pesce is out. But I think in this kind of early information gathering, just like you pivoted on how you saw the lines with the forwards shaken out, I think you have to pivot with how you're going to see the pairings and the defense shaken out. With also the knowledge that you have 1 to 3 weeks, D'Angelo, to prove you can step up on that side. And I'm not bringing Coughlin in or anything like Coughlin in. I'm not going too crazy. Like D'Angelo's still the 6th guy now, but when Pesce comes back, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a different lineup we see. Also, and I know that Adam referenced this a bit during his 2 minutes of hockey. Aho and Fox, nothing malicious.
Oh yeah. And have you seen the picture of Aho dressed as Elf on a Shelf? I mean, how could that guy be out to hurt anybody in the league?
I saw Paul Bissonnette, who obviously has gotten into the media. He put out there, and part of his response to it was, Aho is not that guy. I think that's just the way to put it, right? Like, in every sport, you do, if it's a close one, like if Aho came out and used his stick like a baseball bat to someone's face, all right, fine, whatever. Like if it's that obvious. But if there is like did he mean to? Is it a weird situation? I do think you have to take in like personality into it.
He's not going up and whacking players like we've seen Marchand do before.
But like, and then I'm going to, quote Adam here directly from 2 minutes of hockey. You're not risking your own knee to hurt someone else's knee. Sebastian Aho recognizes how important he is to this team. He's not going to be out there like, all right, let's clank knees together and see who wins. See whose knee holds up and whose knee explodes. Let's see how that goes. No. It's nobody ever gets accused of throwing a beanball in baseball when it's bases loaded, 3 full count, right? It's like if you throw one up and in and you hit someone in the upper shoulder when it's bases loaded, full count, everyone's going to believe you when you say, like, I didn't mean to, it slipped, right? Like, when it's Aho, the stakes are, because he's so important, like an injury to Aho is so detrimental, the stakes are bases loaded, full count. If it was an accident, it was an accident. The ball slipped.
Well, speaking of injuries, and I think this is what happened during the extracurricular activities between Fox and Aho, when Svechnikov
came over.
When Svech came over and kind of pushed him off, I was kind of holding my breath like, please don't start a fight. Like, you just got back, Svech. I'm not saying he was going to... I'm not saying he could lose that fight or could. I just, we just got you back.
It is just a little bit more of like Svech is a little bit more of that guy. But no, both of them. It's like no, both of you get away. We need someone else in there. What happened to the enforcers? What happened to that era of hockey?
D'Angelo, you get in there.
Hey, there you go. Why not?